Hey there, Erin Hartigan here with Scout.com's national recruiting analyst, Greg Powers. We're talking Big 12 recruiting for the class of 2012. Greg, you and I both know a lot has happened over the course of the year. Talk about what some of the biggest storylines were.
The biggest storylines here for us in Big 12 country has got to be the conference shuffle. Texas A&M leaving the Big 12 and going to the SEC, that's a huge shocker. Not only, it's going to take some adjustment period to get used to, not only for fans, but for the recruits. They don't know. They got to look into this now and decide which conference fits them best. Should they play in the Big 12 or the SEC? And they have those options now. Missouri left, TCU and West Virginia coming from the Big East coming in. That's a big thing. TCU, Gary Patterson's already been winning some games there, playing in BCS bowls. How much will that help them on the recruiting trail now is still left to see. But it started pretty early for them. They were able to get Devontae Fields to start this class off with, kind of get the ball rolling. And he was a big-time recruit. Oklahoma, everybody was coming after him. So TCU ought to be able to do some big things going forward now that they're in the Big 12. That's a huge selling point, especially for DFW recruits, one of the biggest hotbeds in the entire country.
Absolutely. So big losses, but nice additions. Best classes this year in the Big 12.
It's always starting at the top, the Red River rivalry, Oklahoma and Texas. We'll talk about Texas because they not only secured the #1 class in the Big 12, #1 class in the country for the Longhorns, and that's the first time they've done that since 2002. A class that people might be familiar with because it had Vince Young in it and they won the national championship. Will this class bolster them and power them forward to another national championship? That remains to be determined. We'll see, but it's a good starting point. They got guys all over the place. They fill their needs on both sides of the ball. Keep an eye on Jonathan Gray, 202 total touchdowns as a running back in high school. Instant impact type of guy.
Heisman watch, throwing that out there. Biggest surprises this year, there were a lot of them.
The biggest surprise to me was Javonte McGee, a 6'6", 270-pound U.S. Army All-American defensive end, spurned the likes of Texas, Alabama, and the list goes on to play for Baylor and Art Briles, a team that you usually think of offensive-minded. This year they did it on defense. They also landed Ryan Nance, a 6'3", 215-pound middle linebacker from Euless Trinity, one of the most powerful high school teams here in Texas.
Huge pickup for the Baylor Bears. And then we talk about immediate impact players every year in the Big 12. What guys, what programs do you see holding the most?
I think Oklahoma did the best job of getting instant impact players in their program, and they went the JUCO route to do it this year. They had a lot of transfers, and they needed people to come in right away and make an impact. Keep an eye on running back Damian Williams. They need a running back. He's a good one, 6'1", 200 pounds, NFL type of frame. Courtney Gardner, a wide receiver, 6'3", 220 pounds. They lost Ryan Broyles. They need another guy to come in there right away and be a pass-catching threat deep down the field, over the middle. Courtney Gardner's that guy. But they also got Trey McTwire, the #1 wide receiver from the class of 2011, went to Hargrave Military Academy. He is the deep ball threat maybe in the Big 12 next year, the #1 guy. This guy can go up over everybody, and he's got some of the biggest, strongest hands you will ever see on a wide receiver prospect. Those are three guys right there coming in for Oklahoma that are going to make instant impacts for that program. It's going to be a completely different team next year.
They're definitely ready to hit the ground running up in Norman. Keep it here on Scout.com for more on 2012 recruiting as well as 2013 with Greg Powers. I'm Erin Hartigan.